Good evening, folks. Hope everybody's having a great week so far, halfway to the weekend. Tonight we'll be out here on Fishing Planet, the San Joaquin Delta, catching some sturgeon and some striped bass, maybe an occasional steelhead. Working on grinding up to level 45 so we can get some good carp gear for some future carp fishing. How's it going, Canadian? All right, so I've got a day finished up here, so I'm going to kind of go over my tackle for this and how I do this San Joaquin Delta farming. There's a lot of videos out there, but I figure I can help anyone out watching this with what I do to try to get a good bit of XP and money out here while also not making it too monotonous. So first of all, my tackle, I've got 3 bottom rods. They're all fairly decent. This is my most expensive one here. It's rated for about 42 pounds. Then I've got 2 pretty cheapo ones, 35 pound, 30 pound. They get by just fine. They'll take a beating on the reel, but they'll get the job done. Using spawn sacks as bait for those. And then while I wait for those to catch anything, this is my spinning set, which my rod, I actually need to upgrade this rod at some point because it's very underpowered for the reel. I'm using a little 24 pound reel with a 24 pound rod. Well, the max drag of 24, but the capacity is a lot higher. I've got 32 pound line and leader on here, so the line and leader are not taking much wear, but it's beating my rod and reel out. Using a roach spoon, but I also use, before I got this, the lure I typically used was, let's see if I can find it here. Here we go, just one of these 3/0 crankbait glow in the dark. Works great for the striped bass. So I'll set a rod stand out right here, and I'll go over when we go to the next day, and I'll just cast some sturgeon out, and then I cast towards that little spot right there to do my spin fishing. Without further ado, let's go ahead and end this day. We can see my keep net from one day here. You can get anywhere from 10 to 20,000 pretty easily. We've got a few sturgeon, a bit of striped bass, decent price average per fish, decent XP on them, so it's a really good spot. Let's go ahead and bring us up. So we want to go ahead and start at this peak. So there's kind of 3 nighttime shapes you're going to get as far as the fish times on this map. You've got this sort of in the middle hump, which this one tends to be the weakest one for me. I get the least fish here. Then you've got this mountain one where I'll usually start right about here at 1 or 2 a.m. and kind of work my way through. And then you've got these weird ones where I'll start right at 9. That'll go for about an hour or 2 there, and then I'll skip ahead to about 2 or 3 a.m. to get this little spot here done. That is how those work. Let's go ahead and forward ourselves over to 11 p.m., extend our days. It's 2,000 to extend days here, which you catch 1 sturgeon, you've pretty much paid for that day. Get our rod stand out. So this is the sort of cheese strategy, but if you want to use really underpowered gear, you can do this. So you have your line right there, and this is what I do, but I'll usually, a lot of people will, if they have to fight the fish, they'll just reset, but I'll fight the fish if they get away from me. But you just kind of set these out right out the bank here, so it's about 4 to 5 feet deep. And what that allows you to do is that when the sturgeon hit, you can pretty much pull them straight up out of the water. So there's almost no fight to it. It's very efficient. But it's not particularly enjoyable that way. Like, you're not really doing any fish fighting. So that's why I like to mix it up with spin casting while. And to make it easier to see when there's a bite, I always go with my flashlight off once I've got the lines in the water, because those lights lighting up on the rod stand will let me know. We'll come to it a lot brighter with it's no flashlight. Go ahead and cast this out here. Using a spoon, I'll alternate between straight retrieval and twitch retrieval out here. Both seem to be relatively effective. We'll start with the straight retrieval. How are you doing today, Canadian? And there's a couple spots I tend to find, like, either I'll get a fish right away or I'll get them closer to like the 60 foot or so mark out. So Those seem to be the two hot spots in this stretch. Anything there? Yeah, so far feeling pretty good. Haven't done much talking, so we'll see how my throat holds up after a while. But feeling good so far. Our crazy weather here. We hit record lows last week. Had record lows last week. Now we're back to near record highs. So here we can see if I can pull this up. Yep. So you can, if you get them quick enough, you can pull them straight up like this, and they'll fight for a second there before he lets you pull it off the line. But right there's a few seconds, good XP, and another sturgeon that pays for an entire day here. So very effective little strategy. It's like whatever was biting line one didn't go all the way in, so I'll probably recast that one just in case it took the bait. Yeah, so level 45 is you get access to a 44-ish pound carp rod setup that you can get to the store. So I want to get to level 45 and then start building a carp setup to go to the Sanders Bergasse or something like that, whatever it's called, lake, and start doing some carp fishing. Recast this one. Yeah. So there are people, if you really want to maximize your silver and XP per minute, what people will do here is they will come out here and put their bottom lines out. They don't do any spin fishing, and they'll wait like 3 or 4 minutes between bites, and if they don't get anything, they'll forward time. They'll just keep doing that until they get like 3 fish, then go to the next day and keep doing that. And that overall in the long run does get you more XP and silver per minute, but that's just I play to fish. I don't mind doing it on the side here like that, but for me personally, that's not a particularly enjoyable way to approach it. But if you're just interested in some quick XP and silver, that is certainly an option to do. Back to some twitching. Yeah, unfortunately, this one that has the peak time where it's kind of like a peak in the middle of the night. It tends to be the least successful for me. And the other thing about this, the sturgeon strategy, because you're picking the fish right up, you can use lower tier gear. So it's something that as soon as you unlock the San Joaquin Delta, if you've got a couple okay bottom rods, you can definitely come out here and do that to try and get yourself some more level appropriate gear pretty easily. If you don't manage to pick it up right away, then you just hop over to your boat or kayak and reset, and that will make sure that the fish doesn't beat your gear up at all. There's a little striped bass there. And occasionally you'll get some smallmouth bass here as well. They'll be like 2 pounds, but even at 2 pounds, they're worth about 300 or so silver bucks. So I always tend to keep them. The rare fish you'll get here is steelhead. This isn't a popular spot for them, but about but about 1 in probably 30 fish or so, I'll pull in a steelhead on the lure. There we go, another decent sturgeon. Yeah, so I don't know about if their DLCs go on sale for Black Friday. I'm sure they do. I know for certain it's the that they do their half off premium, which I would definitely be taking advantage of. I'm sure that they do put some of the DLCs on sale as well, though. Yeah. And then shortly after Black Friday, I imagine will be the start of the Christmas event season. All right, we got so I'll get a lot of trophy stripers here. Occasionally I'll pull a unique, and you can tell the uniques ones. Those ones will fight me out to around 200 feet before they start wearing out. And I'll show my strategy if we do get a sturgeon on that I don't manage to successfully pull straight up. There's a pretty good strategy for bringing them in. I found with getting their head turned around to keep them from taking too much line out. These stripers, on the other hand, there's not a whole lot of turning them around. They are very feisty fish. We've got the new beginner Let's Play series for RF4 coming on YouTube. Is that did you make like a new account for that you're playing kind of like as like a new fresh account, or are you just kind of going back with like starter gear on your existing account and showing sort of the experience? New account. Alrighty, cool, good deal. All right, so we definitely at least have a trophy striper on here. Don't think it's a unique, but it's probably close to unique. You can see how much of a beating my my rod's taking here, and for that matter, my reel, because my line is kind of a lot stronger than what these are rated for. Level 1 from scratch. That long road. I'm assuming as a like a free to play experience, so you're not doing like premium with happy hour or anything like that. Yeah, that's the definitely the way to go for a beginner series like that. I think that's better way to give people a realistic expectation of what they'll expect if they're wanting to go in fully free to play. All right, we've almost got this sucker in, and I'll probably advance the time forward once I pull him in here to get some more sturgeon. This may actually end up being a unique, just not a very solid unique. It is, there we go. Unique striped bass, 43 pounds. Get a good 1400 XP there, almost 4,000 bucks from it. Not bad at all. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and switch the time for it, so you can go in the boat here to reset your rods to make it easy. And I'll go and before I pass the time for it, I go and put my rod stand back down to save some time. And if you, those of you that didn't know, to forward time, like if you kind of do this, it's a little wonky to like you can click here, but if you want to just go to the next hour, top of the hour, you can just hit forward time without selecting anything. And by default, that'll take you just straight to the top of the next hour, which is nice. Good strategy here to kind of get through the night a little bit quicker. I usually try to get at least 10,000 bucks in my keep net before I go to the next day, since it is 2,000 bucks to extend the stay. I figure that gives me at least enough profit to make up for it. So, one thing I need to look into, I need to see if there's, I assume there is, but I need to look into if there's a official Fishing Planet Discord that has a self-advertising, see if we can maybe get some more interested viewers for the Fishing Planet streams. Sink down a little bit here, try to keep it towards the middle. Yeah, I don't know where all of our they started showing up there towards the end of last night's stream. You know what? I wonder. So over there, do you guys do daylight savings? Because I know, like, I don't think Europe does daylight savings, and since we just had that rollback, that may be a factor. Like with the daylight savings, we may be an hour ahead of our regulars' usual time. That may be what's going on. I didn't even think about that. So you guys do. What's weird is like places like Arizona doesn't adhere to daylight savings, which just creates a nightmare if you're traveling like to or from Arizona trying to figure out what time lights and stuff are. Weird. But yeah, I know like I'm pretty sure a lot of Europe doesn't adhere to daylight savings, so that means we're an hour earlier, which would explain why they started showing up towards the end of last night's stream. Probably used to that time, the stream starting. But me personally, I wish would get rid of daylight savings. Here we go, got a fish on. It it was in place for like farmers back in the day, so they have that extra hour of sunlight to work. But like, we don't really have manual farm labor for the most part anymore. Like it's all machine assisted now, not fully machine automated, and it's such a pain in the butt. It's, in my opinion, it's time to get rid of daylight savings. Make it easy for everyone. Oh, there's a small striper, so you can see like even a non-trophy striped bass can often still be over $1,000, which is why I like. Even though you can do the time skip, focus on sturgeon strategy, and be better off in your money per time spent metric. I like catching stuff and fighting them, and I think the striped bass tend to give better XP as well. Sink back down. You're still out there fishing on white moose. Very nice. Yeah, St. Croix, you're gonna be when you get those circling after those muskie and pike there. That it's fantastic. Um, Now, I definitely consider like if you focus on building your bottom rods first off, and when you get there, and then once you unlock the delta, you can try the sturgeon method. Because like I said, the two bottom rods I have on there are probably like level 35 or so here, and they have no trouble. Even if I'm fighting the sturgeon, I can bring them in. It's only taking about like maybe 5-6% wear on the rod and reel. Is an option where you can alternate between St. Croix and the San Joaquin Delta. Had a bump there, but didn't take the lure. I will say the sturgeon thing, to bring them straight up, I have found that you really need a level stand. If you have one of the ones that's inclined upwards, I never really had luck getting the pull up to work with the inclined stands. So something to keep in mind. All right, we haven't had any hits for a few casts here, so let's go ahead and advance the time again. Yeah, these prime time in the middle of the night days are just don't give you a lot of time to go after the fish. But unlike RF4, we can just fast forward the time to a more appropriate time instead of having to sit through it and catch nothing. What is going on outside? There's some vehicle making all sorts of a ruckus. I don't know if the microphone's picking that up. It's obnoxious. Here we go. All right, another sturgeon pulled in here. There we go. Yeah, I do have. I've got my mic's diaphragm positioned away from or directional facing towards me to help reduce some of the noise because we have a lot of loud cars and stuff around here that you never control. And then during the summer, it's like I swear there's always a neighbor doing yard work at all hours of the day. It's terrible. Come here, Striper. A little small one there. We're getting close to, I guess we're about, looks like maybe 40% of the way through level 44 here. So much faster progress than RF4. It's night and day. Like I get a level 1 here and it's like, okay, well, whatever your level appropriate fish to go after is, maybe like 40 or 50 fish will get you another level up. When R4 is like, well, be prepared to get like 1,000 fish. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, thunder is you can't really direct away from it. It's all around you. But we don't get as bad as thunder as here as we used to. I remember around 15 years ago or so, the storms we would get here were insane. Like every thunderclap was the kind of thunderclap would just shake the house. We really don't tend to get those anymore, which I'm thankful for because it's both annoying and it tends to come with some really dangerous lightning. But we usually get we might have like one storm a year where we get that kind of thunder now. Twitch seems to be a little bit better right now. So usually if I don't get any, as far as the in-game time and what I gauge for whether it's time to skip the time ahead or not, if I get no bites by a quarter past the hour on in-game time, I'll go ahead and advance the time. And then usually by 30 minutes past the hour, unless it's just super hot, I'll go ahead and advance to the next hour. We're at 200 pounds in the keep net right now, so we should be probably around 15,000 or so bucks in the keep net, I imagine. Got a little smallmouth there about 10 feet out. Because even the smallmouth, like they're tiny, but they're still getting over $100 per pound essentially. So might as well keep them. Not taking much keep net space. All right, well, we're at 15,000. I think we can go and advance to the next day now. Reset the rods. down. All right, so here on when the day's got the sort of sine curve almost, I'll start right at 9 p.m. and usually I'll get some there, and usually I won't get any after that. So goes. Stay, there we go. After takeout, that's another 13,000 profit. And another reason why I like to have the bell alarms in addition to the rod stand alarm is that I know for certain it's time to pull the rod up if I start hearing the bell alarm, whereas with the rod alarm alone, you can sometimes miss a strike by catching it too early. They'll start going off when the fish is kind of nibbling it. Gives a little bit of extra warning that it's time to set the hook. And I'm just vary between twitching and straight retrieval on these runs now. Go, another striper on. Potentially a steelhead. Here we go. I can pull this up in time and not lose the other fish. All right, so if I have to focus on one, I'd rather lose the striper than the sturgeon, but we'll try to juggle these here. Boy. Okay, there's a sturgeon. Almost got this one in, so just pull it all the way in and we'll focus on that sturgeon. Go, little striper. Very hot start to this night. Whew. All right, so when you're fighting these sturgeon, I will kind of stop reeling, jerk the rod one way, and then reel without pulling the rod up. You just kind of keep doing that, and that seems to be a pretty effective way to keep the sturgeon turned around and prevent them from taking your line out too far. You'll occasionally get some sturgeon around 50 to 55 pound, and those ones are worth a good bit of money. I think they're worth like 3,500 bucks for one of those, and it's quite nice. Almost got him in. Surprised we managed to catch all three of those without losing any. Bam, yeah, 52 pounds, 3,600 bucks right there. You can see in 5 minutes of starting the new day, we're already at over 6,000 in our keep nets, so it's quite profitable. It's not take long to pay for your trip out here and start pulling in the big bucks. Hydrate time, you got it. Cheers. Appreciate it. Yeah, making those fat sturgeon stacks. That's why I like doing the spinning too, because while the sturgeon are great, the bass are pretty solid as well. And if you get a those unique stripers, like that's as much as a sturgeon, pretty much. Let me check. I noticed that I completed some sort of challenge when I was bringing all those lines in. So I need to see what the that challenge was. Check that once I pull this line in. I think it was the timing challenge or something like that. All right, let's take a look here. Challenges. Let's say it was like catch timing or something. I don't see it. Well, we got something out of it in any case. I think it'll show once I eventually leave the map, it'll show what I got. Well, yeah, there's one that's like catch timing, which is successful number of strikes in a row without missing a strike. So that was what it was. Don't know what the rewards were. All right, as many fish as we caught back to back, maybe time to go ahead and pour the time another hour here. Do that. Alex. Gas back out. We'll get some tail from my cat in the camera in a second here. Here we go. And yeah, then this I'm using a 6/0 roach spoon, but a 3/0 glow in the dark crankbait works just fine out here as well. I'm plenty of trophy and unique stripers on those as well, and with that, you can just a straight slow retrieve works fine. Fortunately, there's not a 6/0 glow in the dark crankbait, and the 6/0 crankbait that I do have is like an awkward weight where I find that it's a little hard to reel in as consistent depth. Hey, you're not too far off, Canadian. It's you're getting really close to St. Croix, which will kind of skyrocket your XP earnings. If you can get some setups together there at White Moose where you can handle lake trout, those are going to give you really, really good XP out there. The other thing to keep in mind also is to make sure that your tackle isn't over-tuned for what you're catching. And if your tackle makes it really easy to bring the fish in, you're going to be at an XP penalty. You want it to have a little bit of fight at least. Like all these setups are rated for, like this rod is set up for like a 25-pound fish, so those unique stripers are a lot more than that. And then my sturgeon rods are rated for like 30 to 35 pound when they tend to be 40 to 50, so I get that XP bonus with them. So you can see, because my tackle is so much stronger than this little 13-pound striped bass, I'm getting less XP than I would have using something a little more appropriate. Which is definitely a system I like in this game. It makes it so you're not just trying to make it as easy as possible to bring the fish in, because it's going to actually affect the XP difference. You compare that to like RF4, the guys that have that super end game gear can bring fish in so much easier that it kind of like really expedites their ability to get XP and money for that matter. No penalty. No bites from the sturgeon yet. Oh, there you go. Got something on here. Must be a small striper. Very small striper. Can feel it. Is come on, striper. Come on up here. There we go. 17-pound. It's not terrible. All right. No sturgeon strike. I want to give this one more cast, and if no sturgeon bite, we'll advance the time again, I think. That's the nice thing is like if you catch one sturgeon, you've paid for the day's extension. So any fish you catch past that is going to be your profit. It's nice to have that kind of ratio where it just takes one fish to pay for the day. Now the actual license and trip out here is a different story. It's like I think travel is like or the advanced license I think is $8,000 or $9,000 for 24 hours, and then the travel is like 9 or 10,000. It's definitely not a place you want to come out here and fish for like 5 minutes and then leave. Let's advance the time again. Go and this is a little bit weird one. So if I go, usually like this 2 a.m. is a little too early. Like sometimes I'll catch some fish there, but we're gonna go straight to 3 a.m. Usually I can get another sturgeon or two in this time before we go to the next day. That was a bad cast. I'm gonna recast that. There we go. Try to keep it where it's at least 3 feet deep. And now for some spinning. Sink on down. All right. See if we can get another unique striper out of here. I really like to get a unique steelhead. I've gotten trophy steelhead, but no unique yet. I think they're more common over by the dam, possibly. And I think you can actually catch common carp over in the weeds over there as well. It's actually a pretty versatile spot for different fish species. And I have caught the other side of this little island here. I've managed to catch trophy smallmouth in the past as well. Along this stretch, I've never gotten anything higher than like a 2.5 pound smallmouth. The other side certainly have. All right, no bites yet. So here's where I'm not keeping it here. Yeah, I mean, we've still got about $6,000 of profit for the day if we leave now. Let's try to catch one or two more fish before we get to the next day. Okay, have you tried any of the other random maps as you've leveled, or you've been kind of sticking to the handful? Remember when I unlocked the maps back in the day, I explored most of them for the first time, but there was one map that I just had terrible luck at. It was I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a big river with a dam on it, and I couldn't catch anything with that map. It's probably somehow related to the Belaya River. Went to Emerald, Mudwater, and 2 Europe maps. I remember a lot of people don't recommend Mudwater, but I've spent a good bit of time there early on catching some random little catfish and stuff like that. Yeah, Falcon and the Rocky Lake, all those trouts, I remember spending most of my early game there. We had a bump there, but didn't quite take the hook. All right, one more cast. If we don't get anything, we'll advance to the next day. Great retrieval this time. Oh, got a bump there. It's going to bite. Alrighty. Hey, you'll get there. Don't worry. It goes a lot quicker than it feels like. I mean, it's coming from RF4. Like the level spread seems intimidating, but you tear through the levels so much faster that it's not too bad. All right, let's a rod stand sit out here. And go on to the next day. Ugh, it's another one of these days. All right. Go. All right, come on, sturgeon. Yeah. See if we get another back-to-back sturgeons at the start of this one like we did the last time. Yeah. Another striper on from the feel of it. Just a little one. Exactly $1,000. All right. Well, we're halfway to paying for the day extension. I do. I've caught a couple sturgeon on my telly, but man, this is because like you can't get them because of the clip. You're so far away from where they're actually biting that it's like every 2 hours I could get one sturgeon. It was bad. I've gotten some sterlet, some Persian, and a couple Russian sturgeon on my tellies there. Now, what I'm looking forward to on here is going after the beluga sturgeon at Actuba River in a couple levels. That's going to be at level 46, we'll have access to Actuba River on here, so we can kind of compare Actuba on here versus Actuba on RF4. Yeah. Maybe not. All right. Sturgeon was aggressive for a second there. Probably recast that once I pull this in just to make sure the bait's still good. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. All right, managed to get that one without a fight. Perfect. There we go. Now we're profiting for the day. Well, I sure hope so, because RF4 Actuba certainly does not like me. Oh, I will say the herring there seemed to like me. And the wild carp. Everything else, the buffalo and the Caspian roach, the cutums, everything else there hates me. Not as bad as Belaya, though. Belaya will always be the RF4 map that just refuses to give me fish. Recast that. All right, I'm gonna a couple more sturgeon here. Bringing my retrieval speed down a little bit as well. I've been keeps going up towards the surface of the water a little too quick on me. Yeah. I think the steelhead generally stick towards the bottom of the water. So if I ran like a deeper runner or kept the bait on like a stop and go or walk the dog type of retrieval, probably have better luck getting steelhead. Okay, this one's getting a little bit feisty on me. Fish. Doesn't look like that big of a striper. Would be a trophy. Got there we go. Yep, trophy striper right there. Like we're just about halfway through level 44. Barlopax. No, really the only The only pack I think I got was the that double pack that's like the lucky pack and some other thing bundled together. I believe that's the only DLC I've got on here. There may have been one other one at some point a couple years ago that I got that I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it was just that one. May have been some like holiday holiday bundle I got during one of the St. Patrick's Day things. I can't remember. I don't think so. I can pull up here yeah, the one that I know I got was this lucky bundle here. Like I said, I don't recall getting any others besides that. There may have been one other one I got that came with a kayak. I do have this. No, even that kayak I think came with the lucky bundle. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the only one I got. Pretty much that and premium is the only money I've spent. But that lucky bundle gave a really good spread of different rods and reels that made it so that at like the lake trout there at Moose Lake, I was able to go after pretty much as soon as I unlocked the lake, which is really good. Yeah. There's small striper on here. If I get another bundle of DLC on here, it'll probably be one that adds a bunch of house storage and ground bait recipes and templates. Because I know that's the one thing I am a little bit short on. Is I'll show when I pull this guy in is the gear templates. Another trophy. All right, what are we up to in our keep net already? Let's see. We're at 8,200 already. But yeah, if you go to your where is it? I guess you can't see templates unless you're at the unless you're on the world map, but I only have like the default number of templates, I think, and I've got like one free. So if I do get another bundle of some sort, it'll probably be one that improves my storage options and recipes. I remember looking at like the Pro Angler bundle. Felt like most of the stuff in that is relatively easy to obtain with money anyway, in-game bucks. So it didn't allure me too much. And realistically, like the biggest thing the main thing I wanted out of the pack that I got was the keep net. Having this Fish Ford XL from the start of the game was perfect for me because that means I could just stay at a map like the entire day, not have to worry about traveling or anything because my it's full. That was the way I played this when I first played through. I kind of didn't like forwarding the time to different days and stuff like that. I wanted to just sit there and fish from sun up to sundown. And so having a keep net that would let me just keep everything was very beneficial to my play style at the time. Yeah, absolutely. The backpack slots are good, which I will say, like as you get to higher level, like the backpack stuff that I got from those bundles, I've already replaced with in-game gear. Yeah, early on having those extra tackle boxes, but it's mainly that keep net is just so huge. So I would definitely like some more rod and or rig templates, so that way when I'm especially when I go doing carp fishing and stuff like that, I can easily swap setups out. A little striped bass there. Getting very close to, we might be at the halfway mark for this level. No, it's very close. But considering I hit level 44, like, I think it was this morning or last night, and only played, my total playtime since hitting level 44 is maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and we're already halfway there, and I haven't even really been maximizing it. Would you compare it to like RF4, where on this the highest level map is unlocked at level 75, so this would be kind of like, I guess, level 26 to 27 on RF4 terms, and that takes so long to get through on RF4. How many sturgeon hitting? So we're gonna, and after this reeling, I'll fast forward the time a little bit, see if we can get some sturgeon to hit again. And a couple bumps on here. Which the kayak is also a very, very important tool to get with your bucks early on, because that's going to let you go after some fish with that are bigger than you can normally handle, which is nice. I've even seen videos where people have gone after like taimen with like the level 1 starter gear with the help of a kayak, which is pretty impressive. Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and forward it. We'll go 1 hour, but then before we try later in the evening. We can get another couple sturgeon here. And the bait you're going to want to stock up on for Moose Lake and St. Croix both is shiners. The northern pike and the lake trouts at Moose Lake are going to love shiners. So always keep a ready stock of those available. Yeah, give me another unique striper. Nice. I'm getting a few bumps, but not hitting hard enough to set the hook. There we go. Ooh, this one is taking it out. This may be a unique striper. Just bouncing that rod left and right, isn't it? I suppose I'm just, I'm taking it back. It's probably a trophy, but not quite a unique. Yeah, so the using cheap gear, it'll take a while to reel it in, but you get that XP bonus, which I think a lot of times makes up for it. And I think fighting the fish on here is a lot more fun. Like on RF4, when you have to fight the fish for like an hour, it's kind of a boring fight. Remember that catfish I brought in that took me, it was like 57 minutes of reeling, but there really wasn't much, like, it was pretty much just sitting there reeling the whole time. Wasn't a lot of interactivity to it. And even despite that, it was still worth like hardly any XP. All right, get this big sucker in here. It might still be a unique, actually. I'm almost wondering if this is a steelhead, because I haven't seen it break the top of the water yet. There's no sturgeon hidden, though. I don't know, I still haven't seen it break the top of the water. This may be a steelhead. Here. Nope, it's a striper. Yep, it is a unique striper. There we go. Second one. Ooh, personal best too. Almost 45 pounds. Very nice. I'll take that. And that is why I like to do the spin fishing here in addition to the sturgeon. Appreciate it. Almost 4,000 bucks for that guy and 1,500 silver. It's yeah, it may have been a little bit of a fight, but fun. It's worth it. All right, bring this cast in. I'm going to go ahead and move the time forward to probably 2 a.m. See if we can get a sturgeon or two. A bump there, but we didn't get a hook set on it. All right, let's go ahead and forward the time a little bit now. Which is the other thing that works great about the San Joaquin Delta, because these fish are nighttime fish. Forwarding time, there is no cooldown. If it's nighttime, during the day, there is a cooldown to forwarding time without paying bait coin. But at nighttime, you can just kind of freely do it. Let's go ahead and go to 2 a.m. here. And last one. And where are we at in our cube net so far? We've got we're up to 13,500 so far. Got an ad break kicking on here. That's just to prevent pre-roll ads. Subscribers, no ads for you. Appreciate the support as always, and hopefully Katie can get his you've been having some trouble getting your Twitch, but hopefully we can get that, figure out how to get that resolved so you can be on that list again as well. But we'll keep on fishing through. The other thing on Fishing Planet that RF4 doesn't offer is that they do have Fishing Planet available on console. Now I don't know if there's crossplay or not, so I don't know if the Xbox and PlayStation players are on the same servers as the PC players, but at least just having a console option is nice. Now Twitch has just been messing your stuff up left and right, haven't they? Have you reached out to their support to take a look at all? Between that and the issues you're having with the drops, like it definitely seems like they've got something messed up on their end somewhere. Yeah, hopefully they'll get back to you soon. We get another decent striper. Still no sturgeon yet. There you go. We'll just use a little quantum teleportation to hand over. Well, shoot. By that time, I don't think there's going to be paper money anymore, though. Here we go. Which that's actually something I've been noticing in around my area. More and more places are switching to no cash options, which I'm still not even entirely sure how legal that is, because technically, as far as I know, there's still laws on the books in the U.S. where cash is legal tender and has to be accepted as an option. But more and more places I go to, it's no cash option or no cash option available, which I feel like is going to adversely impact certain industries to some extent. Yeah, but well, and governments especially want to switch to be cashless because it's a lot easier for them to keep tabs on digital currency. So, government-wise, I know that's definitely the same thing here. They want to eventually they keep trying to push towards a central bank digital currency. There's enough resistance to it for now. Okay, we may have probably another trophy striper here. Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Like something like Bitcoin is one that they can they can do an audit trail of all the transactions. So Bitcoin's actually easier for them to track than something like cash or some other currencies out there. But it's definitely the way they want to go. But I always keep a decent bit of cash on hand, so I can't count the number of times I've been in a restaurant or something, and there's a steelhead. Yeah, they're rare, but you'll get them here every now and then. Not too bad on the money. Yeah, times I've been at like a restaurant or something, and their machines are down. So it's like, well, you can either wait for our machines to come back out to use your card. It's like, well, here, just got cash for this particular purpose. Yeah, like one industry, especially that not that I haven't, I've been to one once and kind of boring to me, but that aside, like I don't know how the gentleman's club type industry is adapting to more cashless society. Like, what do they have? Do they have a little square tablet on the stage for you to put in your tips? I don't know how it works now. Up there in Canada, I know that's got to be a factor in Montreal because I know Montreal's got a very, very active seedy nightlife scene. Maybe time to skip to the next day here. We haven't got any sturgeon in a while. Hmm. All right, let's see what the next day looks like. It's another one of these awkward ones that are not particularly great usually. Uh, Not bad though. Pretty decent haul for that day. Is it Montreal or Toronto that has like the massive like practically an underground city? Like so there's like a giant mall and stuff underground. So for some quick sturgeon here, it already made almost 100,000 bucks here. Yes, I think it is. I think you're right. I think it is Toronto. I know it's one of the two. You see, the west side of the country's got all the nice trees and stuff. Got a big sturgeon on here. Which I was actually out of curiosity. I was looking at like housing prices in the northern territories, and it seems like like brand new apartments and stuff are really popping up in the northern territory, the northwest territories, and it's actually quite expensive. I was surprised by that. Get up here, sturgeon. Right there. Come on. Come on. There we go. Not bad. Almost 40 pounds. Paid for the day already. Oh, so they do still do the. I remember Alaska used to do that as well. They had the allowance to like incentivize people moving out there, but I think Alaska actually finally got rid of that. Yeah, I was looking at the pricing of property up there. It's like, geez, it's oh, given how it's just a bunch of old timberland, a lot pricier than I was expecting. Ah, you gotta move an hour north. Then it sounds like you got a last second striper there right as I was pulling this in. Come on, let me take it. There we go. Tiny little striper. I know there's used to be a lot more like in the Midwest states used to do a lot of those incentivizing to get business and population to move there, but because everything's gone to like remote work, a lot of those rural areas stopped offering those allowances because have started moving out to those areas anyways because they have remote jobs and they can get a bunch of land and larger houses in those rural towns, which I can make a whole rant about what the biggest problem with that is that in a nutshell, it's crippling small rural communities because you've got all these people moving into these small towns that are working remote jobs from like San Jose and New Jersey, New York, stuff like that, where they're getting a lot of money. And in the past, if someone like that was bringing their money into a small town, it was good for the town because they were recirculating that money within the town. But the problem is that now they're just ordering everything online. So their money's not even helping the small town, but because they're paying for these huge houses and stuff, it's bringing the average property tax up. So the local communities, like their incomes are stagnant, but now they're having to pay more taxes and stuff like that. So it's killing them. I still haven't seen the Life Before or Life Below Zero. I know you'd mentioned that once before. I haven't watched it yet, but it's definitely something on my list to check out. Yeah, it's definitely a crisis that local communities were not prepared for. I mean, just my own area has become such a hotbed for people moving here from, especially I don't know why, but New Jersey in particular is like very popular among people moving here. But in the past 5 years, my property tax has gone up over double what it was for the past 10 years. It's insane. Sturgeon are just not biting now. What's the deal? Oh yeah, income tax, all the tax, man. Like taxes to a certain extent is good. We got to fund certain things, but man, it's what I would love to see is itemized elective taxes. So like have different things that you can benefits you can receive, but you can elect whether to pay for them or not. For example, like one of the big things in our areas or in the states in general, property tax is generally mostly going to local schools. Well, if you don't have kids, you're not going or anything. That's a lot of property tax you're paying for a benefit you're not even receiving. I'd love to be able to do like itemized elective taxing for various services and programs that way. Oh yeah, carbon tax. That's its own can of worms there. Start getting into ESG and all that stuff. Oof. But how often are the elections up there for prime minister? I gotta assume that it's about time for re-election up there because it doesn't seem like your current prime minister has a whole heck of a lot of support these days. Assume there's got to be change in the future every 4 years. Okay, so it's the same as our presidential terms. Okay, so it seems like they're synced up with ours then, because ours is our next presidential election is next year as well. So I guess they're timed up that way. I feel like Canada has a lot of the situation that the state of California has, as an example, or Oregon for that matter, where they have these huge population centers, like super urban population centers, that are voting like are getting a huge presence in the voting booths. But then when you get to all the rural communities, they just don't have the population, so they're but have vastly different needs for what they need policies and regulations on. So it ends up creating this weird imbalance. Probably when I was younger and more naive, I thought the idea of the electoral college system we have in the U.S. was stupid because like it should just be with whoever's popular wins. But then, as I grew older and learned more about socioeconomics and everything, I realized like, oh, okay, well, no, you don't want that because then you literally only have the major population centers determining every outcome. A little smallmouth bass there. Where are the sturgeon at tonight? What's going on? Got a bump there. There we go, guy. Looks like another smallmouth, probably, or a very small striper. It's like a smallmouth. Where are we at in the keep net? We've got minus the 2,000 for the day. Day change. We still got 2,300 profit. Ooh, here we go. Now we got a striper on. $2 a liter. I don't remember the liter to gallon conversion off the top of my head, but I know my state's kind of like around the national average. Our place, like California, is like almost twice the price, but here, right now, I want to say we're around 3.60 or so a gallon for regular. I do premium in my car, so I end up still having to pay close to $5 a gallon. But yeah, it was compared to where it was 4 years ago. It is definitely over double what it used to was 4 years ago. Whew, that is a lot. Hey, there's a nice little trophy stripe bass. And you know the crazy thing about that? I noticed this about 10 years ago. Diesel used to be way cheaper than standard gasoline because there was less refinement process required for it. But now that they, at some point, they're like, oh wait, people are getting diesel cars to save money, so all the gas stations just like made diesel more expensive than regular, but it's cheaper to produce. That's gouging right there. And electric's just still not there yet. Like if you're just commuting around town, electric is kind of okay, but I mean, until we adopt more nuclear energy, like as we see in California, the power grids are not really prepared for the amount of load. If everyone starts switching to electric cars, that charging is going to use up so much energy. But the biggest problem with electric right now is if you want to travel out of town or something, it's hectic because you got to find like specific points where you can go fill up and hope that you don't hit a traffic jam or something to where you can't make it to your where you were going to charge. So you're at about 5.89 per gallon. Okay, so yeah, that's I think fairly close to California's rates. Here it's less because we don't have nearly as many taxes and regulations on them in our state, so it's cheaper, but it's still, like I said, around 350, 360 a gallon. Yeah, until we really get better power grids, like the idea of everyone switching to electric just is just asking for brownouts and blackouts everywhere. No striper right at the end of that reel in. Nope. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, I remember the very first gas I ever purchased when I had my first car was 79 cents a gallon. Boy, I would love to go back to those days. Back then, a taco from Taco Bell was 69 cents. Yeah, we'll get our time machine, not for any like crazy purpose, just so we can go back for cheaper gas. I remember we had around, I want to say it was like 2006. There was a gas scare here, and during that, for like 2 days, gas jumped to like over $10 a gallon here. When back at that time, it was like before that scare, it was like under $2 a gallon. That was a terrible couple of days. Yeah, it's like I had a our old family truck back in the early 90s was a had two 40-gallon tanks of it. So I can imagine what filling up an 80 gallons of gas would be like nowadays. That's taking out a mortgage to do that. All right, I'm gonna bring this reel in and we'll go ahead and start to bring things to a wrap here for the night. Pretty good haul so far, though. This particular in-game night's been a little slow, but made about 75,000 bucks and got about almost half a level, so not too shabby at all. Our final night here, and we still made a profit for the day at least. Lots of XP. I think we're over the halfway mark now, so that's good. Like I said, once I hit level 45, I want to get a good 44-pound carp set up together and go to the Sanders Bergesi Lake, do some carp fishing. But yeah, so that's a little showcase of my strategy here at the San Joaquin Delta. As you've seen, it's most of the time, especially if you really want to be liberal with the fast forwarding of the time, you can easily make 60 to 100,000 bucks an hour out here. So it's pretty simple. Yeah, I can see a lot of people getting rid of their diesels nowadays with it being more expensive and kind of more of a pain in the butt. Like, especially if you're in a cold area, you got to keep it warm, keep it plugged in to keep the diesel warm during the night, stuff like that. It's definitely a whole factor. We're going to wrap things up here tonight, though. We appreciate everyone coming out to watch, and hope we get some more of you join the Cred Club here. We'll do some club competitions and whatnot soon. Tomorrow night we'll do some more Russian Fishing 4, and then Friday night we'll be back here on Fishing Planet. Hopefully I'll have the carp rods ready by then, and we can start going after some carp. But in the meantime, I hope everyone has a good night or a good day, depending on your time zone. Some good fishing, whichever game you're playing. I know we still got a lot of our RF4 purist viewers here, so I will catch everyone next time. Take it easy, folks.